Hey everyone, it's JL the July Lioness. How are you today? Well, here we
Oh,
go. We're at Wrennard Castle. I've got
lovely.
Mr. Lusk and Mr. Villareal, one of his neighbors, here at the castle. So we're just gonna poke around. And Mr. Lusk is annoyed with me. He's bored, so he brought a book. I don't think he likes these trips.
Oh, Shushka.
So, because he doesn't really understand what's going on, but what can you do? Ah, the machinations of us humans that these Sims have to put up with. So I thought it'd be more interesting for him if he had somebody go with him, but he hardly knows this guy, Mr. Villareal, Jacques Villareal, who is an elder and a little confused.
Bumcaro?
He sort of
Bumcaro?
calls out to people and he can't hear very well, and oh, elders
Vinva,
are different
Urabao,
in The
Floof
Sims.
Gaffa.
So I tried to get them to come inside, but they wouldn't because I guess they don't own the property. So this is me just cruising through with the camera, which I operate with the keyboard, my keyboard, ASW and D on the keyboard, and my mouse. So to turn, I use my mouse, and to move side to side, I use A and D. A is left and D is right, and backwards is S, and forwards is W. So we're a little herky jerky here. My apologies. When I do have the family moved in, I can hook on to one of them, and the camera will just sort of trail around behind them wherever they go. So you may get a little sort of swung through some walls a little bit, but you do eventually kind of come back onto course of wherever the sim is. So it's much more realistic. Anyway, so this is the music room, and one of the residents of this house loved pigs. So this is for her, all the little porcelain pigs and things. And this is the larger, I guess it's a turret really. The larger turret, which is I made open air, but I think I'm going to have to put in a replace this arch you see coming up with an actual door. Otherwise, it's going to get a little chilly in the music room in the winter. So I was trying to have this house set around 19, between between 1920 and 1949 is when these people lived here. So I was trying to furnish it with that in mind. So that would mean not a lot of electronics at all, if any. And the lighting is mostly candles and a little bit of electricity. I was reading that electricity didn't really come to people's houses until maybe the 1920s. And I don't think there were telephones. There might have been telephones. So I'm doing candles. I didn't find any gas lights. I assume they would use gas lights in the 20s. So I wish they had some gas lights. But anyway, here's the music room again. I just think it's a really pretty room. And we've got kind of a lot of the stone flooring through most of it because it would have been so expensive, I'm sure, to replace it. And what would they replace it with back in 1920 anyway? So I'm sure it was rather drafty. So I've got fireplaces here and there. Probably wouldn't hurt to add some more. Now, this is the children's room, a little playroom for the kids. Lots of stuffed animals. A little modern, a little too modern, I think. I tried to avoid that, but sometimes I couldn't. I like this game. It's called Don't Wake the Llama. It's like Chenga, if you've heard of Chenga. So since I can't really put TVs in and certainly no computers, I needed them to have other things to play with. So now we're cruising sort of through the dining room, and I'm trying to find the kitchen. It's a little hard to find the kitchen because I'm used to looking at this all from above and popping things down into these little cubbies, and just everything is kind of aerial when you're designing these things. So I decided to fly over and try to figure out where I put the kitchen. There it is with the green floor. So I have to figure out which walls I have to sail through to get to the kitchen. So I'm going to cruise through the dining room walls. I'm lining myself up here, trying not to get too high. I'm going to sail through the dining room, ow, and sail through the, oh boy, ouch, right into the chandelier in the kitchen. So this is I guess, a 1920s kitchen as best as I could put it together. There is actually a refrigerator, more like I guess we'd call it an ice box. Although it really looks a little modern, come to think of it. But what can you do? So there weren't any countertops, but there were some cabinets, overhead cabinetry. And we have the living room with the orange curtains and the white paneling. And a couple suits of armor, that's from the front hallway. They're actually in the front hallway. My walls are down. I tried not to have the walls down too much, but the living room here is with the orange sofas and the white paneling. You can see a little grandfather clock. Now we've jumped up to the boys' bedroom upstairs, this green room. And the kids all have some stuffed animals to play with. So now we're flying over again. There's a red carpeted hallway that has the kids' rooms. Let's see. The green room is the boys' room. There are two bathrooms across the hallway, and further down the hallway in pink, I don't think you see it in this video, is the little girls' room. So we're going to go down the hallway into a big open room that hasn't found a purpose yet. We sort of sailed through the parents' bathroom, which is in the turret. It's directly above the dining room. And so, yeah, they have an old round bathroom with wood paneling. Kind of neat. Now you can see the pink room a little bit there. Okay, we've just gone downstairs again, and I'm going to try and get up the tower. Difficult because it's hard to maneuver in there with the keyboard. So like I said, when I have a sim, it'll be a lot easier. But here's the door to the tower. Isn't that beautiful? I love the detail. And we are inside the tower room. Now this is another entry into it. And the staircases take up a lot of room. So it's a little tough kind of getting up and around. But you can see things in this. They're very pretty Spanish style stairs that I just liked, so I gave them that. And I loved the railings on the stairs. I was so happy to find those. Those look very medieval. Not bad for a place that was actually built around 1840. But, it gets modernized as time goes on, so some things stay and some things get replaced with newer things. So it's a mishmash of different styles over the years. So it's just trying to get up these tower steps, and I realized if I could kind of swing around and face the stairs, then I can pop myself up from one level to the next. But I swing out and then I'm outside the tower. So I swing back in and there's a wall in the way. So I just trying to get myself lined up. So finally made it to the top of the tower. This is where I want the lady of the house to do her painting because she loved her artwork. I got her all the painter's supplies I could find. I set up a studio for her in one of the turrets, and I've got her a few different easels, and she is going to be the one to. You may have noticed there's not much artwork on the walls. That's because I'm leaving that up to her, um, which is, yeah, that's pretty accurate. That's what she did in real life. She did a lot of paintings and gave them to people, and of course there'll be other artwork in there, if maybe of some family members or something. I'm not sure, but so here we're creeping up to the edge of the wall. I want it trying to peer over at the view into the sea without falling off. Whoops. But yeah, I picture her coming up here and painting this beautiful view. You can have them paint from reference once they get them to a certain painting level. So she could actually paint what she sees off the tower, and that painting would be kept in the house. So that's really amazing. I've also, for the man of the house, I've decided he's going to take up photography. So I got him a little something anachronistic. There's actually a photography studio that he can have, and so he could take photographs of the children. Also, he'd have a portable camera so he can walk around and take photos of the grounds, which you can use in your game. You just frame them and put them on the wall, which is pretty amazing. So my Sims can probably take better pictures of this place than I can. So now we've got a nice aerial view. So we've been up the tower. I'm going to get Mr. Lusk to stroll around the grounds with us, and we can tag along with him. He will walk around the outside, but will not go into the interior. I tried doing it, and the the furniture didn't load in at all. It was just empty rooms with the walls down. So you kind of saw the floor plan, but everything else was empty. So I'm looking now at a back porch I put in. Just threw some chairs in that I thought I kind of liked. Haven't decided what to do with them yet, but people can kind of sit out there until we get that set up. People move in, things are in disarray to begin with. So it was a pretty good job, though. I mean, Mr. Lusk and whoever else helped them get this house ready for them. So here we are looking at the Sims. They become suspended when you go into build mode. But they're still there. They're still like, three-dimensional, but they're in suspended animation. It's kind of cool. So we'll go back into live mode now and watch them spring to life. But they've been patiently waiting for me. Mr. Villareal eating his fruit cake and Mr. Lusk reading his book. So now we'll stroll around the grounds a little bit, but he keeps stopping to read his book. He really wants to read this book, and I'm annoying him by making him walk around. I just let me read my book, woman. And Mr. Villareal is, I guess, a little senile, so he doesn't really know what's going on, but looks like he finished his fruit cake. His family actually used to live on this lot. I evicted them and bulldozed his house, so he might be a little resentful of the family that moves in here, or maybe he's forgotten. I don't know. That he could have, like I said, he's a little senile, I guess. You see, Mr. Lusk, he runs along and to where I tell him to go. Then he stops and reads his book until he gets the next go here command that I'm giving him. And he'll run along. He just reads his book while he's waiting. He's really determined to read that book. And I'm not telling him to do this. This is called autonomy. They will do certain things just
Nicola?
on their
Want a
own.
fish?
So I'm trying to get them to go through this neat little passageway that I kind of
Let me
accidentally
go.
created
See?
between the tower and the
That's enough.
house because it's neat. It's just wide enough for them to squeak through, and it's a great shortcut. So here we go. Unfortunately, I lose my wall a little bit. It doesn't load or something. I think because he gets too close to the house. So yeah, that's what I saw when I tried to get them to come in the house. Was just this like vacant structure. Very strange, but that's what it does when nobody lives there.
Shasane Varpasa.
So yeah, you can kind of just creep around or cut through the underneath the tower,
Oh,
but you can't
Limpima.
because
Hmm.
they can't go inside anything yet. Still working on that book, Mr. Lusk. So we're almost done. A little bit more. Oh, Mr. Villareal, I think he has to go to work. Goodbye. And I'm going to walk around a little more with him and send him home. And you can see exactly where his house is in relation to the castle, which is very cool. We hadn't been able to do this before, but this new expansion pack has some really great new things. And we simmers, as we're called, have been waiting for this expansion called Get Together for months, just months. So we're all very excited. This is, only a couple weeks old. And it had so many great things that I used for that castle. So this is it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the tour. We're going to have the family next video, and that's going to be really fun. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for all the wonderful comments. Take care.